नमस्कार. हांव अश्विनी प्रशांत. सारस्वत महिला समाज गामदिनी तर्फे हांव तुमगेल्या सर्वांक गेल्या आयच्या टॉक शोन तूं स्वागत करता. आमगेली आयची स्पीकर आमगेली सर्वांगेली आवडती इन हाऊस सेलिब्रिटी आसा मिसेस रूपा येनेमडी लोबो. She is an educator, a facilitator, a mentor and much more. Born to multi-talented parents, Srimati Geeta Pachi and Sri Vivek Mam Yennemadi, Roopa has numerous educational feathers in her cap. She is a BA in Psychology and English Literature from Sophia College, University of Mumbai, a diploma in Early Childhood Care and Education, advanced studies in Education Management and Pedagogy, that is the method and practice of teaching. She has a Master of Science in Innovative Education and Teaching from the European International University, Paris, a Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood Education from the same institution. She has to her credit many specialized certification courses like Certificate in School Management and Leadership from Harvard, Introductory Cambridge International Early Years Certificate, a postgraduate diploma in education leadership, as well as the TESOL TEFL International Certificate. All these qualifications have strengthened her understanding of modern educational frameworks while reaffirming her belief in reflective, child-centered practices. It helped her to broaden her leadership profile and equipped her to integrate language teaching more effectively. All these have been the backbone for her achievements. She is supported by a loving, caring family, including her parents, her husband, Mr. Winfred Lobo, her beautiful daughter, Riva, and future son-in-law, Sri Ram. I have often heard that values laid during children's formative years by parents and teachers alike helps in cultivating the foundation of a good human being and citizen. This is very challenging, and Roopa has mastered this art very well as an educator. She specializes in early childhood education and preschool education as follows. She has also helped various educational institutions. She has a solid foundation in education, learning, and development, built over more than 3 decades of dedicated service in the field of early childhood education. Her 34 years of professional tenure is spread across established institutions, pioneering startup environments and internationally aligned educational settings. She is a visionary leader, setting and upholding institutional ethos while also having the versatility to adapt, innovate, and succeed in diverse and evolving educational contexts. As they say, the only change is change itself. This commitment earned her the Asian Education Award 2025 for outstanding contribution to curriculum innovation and teacher development. Congratulations, Roopa. She is adept at designing and delivering a variety of learning workshops that address specific training needs, equipping teachers with practical strategies while fostering reflective practice. She designs programs that are developmentally appropriate, engaging, and meaningful for children. She has facilitated the early years breakout sessions at the Cambridge Western India Conference for coordinators and examination officers meet held in Mumbai on 20th and 27th of July 2024 for transforming education with Cambridge early years, and on 11th and 12th September 2025 for building foundations through meaningful assessment. She is a certified program leader for the Cambridge International Certificate in Early Years Good Practice, accredited to mentor teacher trainees in reflective, child-centered practices that shape the future of early childhood education. Her core skills include proficiency in establishing and successfully operating preschools, ensuring long-term viability with clear vision, goals, and direction for preschool programs, curriculum development, implementation, innovation, and continuous refinement aligned with international best practices, application of educational technology to enhance teaching, learning, and operational efficiency, staff recruitment, management, mentoring, and professional development for sustainable growth, effective communication with parents, staff, and stakeholders, fostering trust and transparency, conflict resolution and diplomacy in managing complex situations with balance and integrity, strategic thinking and future planning, including budgeting, financial planning, resource allocation to ensure institutional self sufficiency, growth, and continued academic excellence, alignment with global standards and compliance with relevant regulations, emphatic understanding of children, parents, and staff, ensuring a nurturing learning culture through engagement and collaboration. In today's world, it is said, "जो दिखता है वही बिकता है," and Rupa's marketing and promotional strategies strengthens institutional visibility and reputation. Needless to say, she also represents the preschool in external forums and educational networks. She believes in coaching rather than compliance, collaboration rather than hierarchy, and reflection rather than inspection. Her current work extends beyond curriculum design. It includes instructional leadership, curriculum progression, assessment innovation, teacher coaching, leadership development, and whole school improvement planning. Her professional journey has included being the head of early years and daycare at Chhatrabhuj Nursery School, pre-primary supervisor at NL Dalmia High School, consultant for setting up pre-primary kinder kits, head of pre-primary kangaroo kits, a preschool coordinator at Billabong International School as well as Carmelite Convent, and a teacher in Lady Engineer in Tardev. Currently, she is associated with Campion School as a curriculum consultant for early years and primary school academic development. She is responsible for leading strategic academic initiatives supporting the school's transition towards international best practice. Apart from being an educationist, Rupa is a vocalist who is trained in light classical and contemporary styles, a linguist being proficient in 5 Indian languages and one French language, an avid reader, a cinema enthusiast, a globetrotter, and culture curious. Despite being so busy in her professional and family life, Rupa always has the time for our Samaj activities. She has recently joined our Saraswat Mahila Samaj and is a true asset to our managing committee. She is a dynamic volcano, having out of the box ideas, and this adds different use to our various programs. Reading about her achievements actually has overwhelmed me. I was truly at my wits' end and not understanding how to summarize so many of her achievements in just a few pages. I truly hope that I have done justice to it while I was introducing our very own Rupa. Well, I know you all must be eagerly waiting to hear our Utsav Murti herself. So, without further ado, I call upon Rupa to tell us all about the journey that chose me. Over to you, Rupa.
Thank you, Ashwini, for that beautiful introduction. So, तुम सगळ्यांक विनम्र अभिवादन करून हांव आयज मगल कार्यक्रम सुरू करता. केन्ना निवीन आनी अश्विनीन म्हाका सांगलां that I need to speak about my journey and my life. ताण म्हाका दिसलें हांव खंय थान सुरू करूं. Should I speak about my years in education? Should I speak about the schools I worked with? Should I speak about the roles and the responsibilities I carried? जाल्यार मागीर हांव रियलायज केलें की our lives can never be understood with our achievements. Our stories are truly shaped by the people who loved us, by the choices that we made, by the challenges that we faced, and the lessons that we learned or the lessons that were taught to us along the way. तुम्ही अग्री करतात ना? तुमगलपैकी मस्त जाणा म्हणक्या I also began life with certain dreams and certain plans. तांतूल थोडी खरी जाली, तांतूल थोडी चेंज जाली, आणि तांतूल थोडी took me in a direction that I had never ever imagined. Aji, I'm not here to speak as someone who has arrived at her final destination or who has the answers to everything. No. I'm here to simply share a few chapters in my life. आमगेल एक्सपिरियन्स प्रत्येकाला विंगविंगड आशिल तरी we have all known love, responsibility, change, loss, hope and the courage to begin again. Life, I have discovered, is perhaps the greatest classroom, Ashmak Dista, and that is why I have called my talk The Journey That Chose Me, a heartfelt reflection on how family, relationships, education, challenges and new beginnings have shaped my life that is still learning and becoming. So chalo, let's begin. Beginning at सुरुवात करचे if I think of where my journey began, I do not picture only a house. I picture a home filled with people, voices, conversations, आवाजू, लोक, गलगलाटू, celebrations, कितल festivals, झगडी, laughter, and constant yovच. Because आमगल घर, I resonate that with 17 Ullas Lebanon Road, Kamdevi, Bombay 7. आमगल घारा मस्तु लोक येताल वताला. एक म्हणारी my grandparents were the eldest in the family. So तांगल मागशी तांगल मस्त भावंड plus आमगल फोर्ट एरियान तू तावळ सगळे हेड ऑफिसेस असताली. सो कितले लोक हेड ऑफिसाक येतलो, फोर्टांत येतली, आमकां विजीट करताली, and I don't ever remember eating all by ourselves as a family. कोण ना कोण कोणी आमगल घार असताला. And my grandmother, my Annama, ललिता येन्नेमडी, ती केन्नाय म्हणटाली ह्या चेडाक खंयचे घार पळय लोक येवन जेवता ती, आनी अशी भरलेल घर आसता, त्या घराक केन्नाय व्हडलें ब्लेसिंग आसता. So I think that lesson stayed with me as one of the earliest lessons that I learned. तीन त्या म्हणल्यार म्हाका अजुनूय उगडास जाता, and I think I am all said and done following that to the T. And I think I consider myself very lucky that I grew up in a joint family. इता म्हळ्यार joint family तूं वाडतना you always have someone to speak to, someone to learn from, someone to play with, and of course someone ready to correct you when you step out of line. So लायना भायर पडकी एकल्याक कळवा तू कलकी केल्ले म्हणू जालें, फुल घर आला थान गवजी. सो चूक करची was not so good because multiple गवजी मेळटली, but तुकाला बरें केल्यारी शाबासकी multiple मेळटली. So it was an additional earning. My Ajja Devrao Yennamadi and my other set of grandparents, my maternal grandparents, Krishnamurti and Sumitra Nadkarni, तांगल गोटू होड जातना I think what they gave us was the heart. तांणी stability दिली, belonging दिलें. Through their stories, through the prayers that they taught us, through the habits that they inculcated, and the quiet wisdom, I think they connected us to our traditions mainly, and to the generations that came before us, before them, in fact. I used to hear stories about my great grandfather who was a doctor. He was from the first batch of medical students, Indian College of Medical Students. So तो पहले बैच आशिल्लो तागल काणयो मगल पिज्जामाल वरगामाल काणयो कितल अशी काणी आयकत आमी हॉट जाली. And through those stories I think what we really took away were values mainly. आणि तांणी केन्ना अशी फॉर्मल एडवाइस दिनी आमकां. In fact, I think all their advice or all that I learned so far came through simply watching them, how they faced difficulties, how they welcomed people, how they respected relationships and found contentment through very, very simple things. I think that must important asta. Contentment through सन्न वस्तून तू मज घेवची. लायक इवन त्या चौपाटी शेंगदाण्याची मजा अँड सन्न चिल्लर पिल्लर वस्तू. एक बज केल्लेला त्या बज खावच्यान मजा. म्हाका अन्नमा ती आर्थरायटीस आशिल्ली ती वरांड्यार घेवन बसताली अँड शी टू से यो गमा आमी आमगल चौपाटीर बशा अँड शी यूज टू मेक मी सिट अँड शी यूज टू टॉक अबाउट नेचर. त्यावेळ म्हाका आय यूज टू नॉट अंडरस्टँड बट आत्ता म्हाका कळटा की त्याय डिफिकल्टीन तू शी टॉट मी टू सी द ब्रायटर सायड ऑफ लायफ इन्स्टेड ऑफ सेइंग अयो म्हाका वचून चमकूनच्या जायना की ना, सो म्हाका तुका व्हरू जायना की ना. सो देर वॉज नो नेगेटिविटी, देर वॉज अ लॉट ऑफ पॉझिटिव्हिटी. आणि इवन माय बाप्पा पाची, आय थिंक माय सुनील बाप्पा अँड माय श्यामल पाची, I think they were just additional parents. I will not be able to say anything more. I think मगल अम्मा अण्णान कितले केल्या म्हजे खातीर, तांणी तितलेच केल्या, तांणी तितलेच पेन्स घेतल्यात म्हजे खातीर. इवन मगल रेवा खातीर, फॉर माय डॉटर, आय थिंक शी वॉज लकी दॅट वेन शी ग्रू अप इन उल्हास शी हॅड नॉट वन बट 2 sets of parents. Even my mamas and my mommies, lots of them, I think everybody had a right to guide you, to protect you, to correct you. More than anything else, I think though their personalities were different, I think now I feel how fortunate I was, for being around them and for being surrounded by so many people who actually cared for you. The disciplining, the being strict, the correcting came simply out of love. And then there were cousins, so many. Our first friends, our teammates, our competitors, and our partners in Masti. All my cousins here, the Kodyars, the Shirurs, the Pura Magal Hangashil Lagi, Kagals, all my cousins. Then आम्ही इतकं मज केल्या, like Shirpa, Urvashi, Pranav, Priya, Shriya, Suprasan, Milind Sujay, my Shanalpachi and Sunil Papa's boys. I think I will not count Milind and Sujay as my cousins, but I call them my brothers because आम्ही सांगाती वाढली, एका घरात वाढली. I was here, I mean, Malreva Tangalanga Khandyar खेळली. So for me, I will not call them cousins, they're my brothers, but the rest of them, kittle मजा केल्या आम्ही कालनीबाची घर. Now they call them sleepovers, but त्यावेळी we used to go and just sleep at their place. आणि रात्री न्हिद खळचो, late night snacking, मस्त मजा केल्या. Even Slater रोडारी. Growing up, I think with Milind Sujay, taught me a lot of things. आम्ही सांगाती खेळली, सांगाती अभ्यास केल्लो, मस्त झगडी करतालो आमी आणि चुनू चीज जाली. लायक आय रिमेंबर कोणें आम्हाला घार आयल्यार एक चॉकलेट घेवन येतालें आणि मिलिंद आनी हांव मागीर रूल अर्द वर न्हू, वी यूज टू डिवायड दॅट चॉकलेट. आणि सिन्स आय वॉज द एल्डर, आय हॅड द बेनिफिट ऑफ बीइंग द ओल्डर ऑफ बिटवीन बोथ ऑफ अस. हांव बुधवान तयार गमटाय कोणत्या रुलर थोडेंच गुंड न्हू, आय यूज टू मेक शुअर दॅट आय गॉट द लार्जर चंक. Very soon he realized it and he used his manly muscles to make sure I understood that we need to divide it equally. Sujay yet Mansari, I think I was almost 13, and I think I was more like a little mother to Sujay. In fact, I always call him my first baby and my Reva my second. But cousins are to san more na. I think you learned lessons that no textbooks ever taught you. You learn to negotiate, you learn to adjust, you learn to forgive, and most importantly, you learn to move on. Grudges dhoruko and ugdas dhoruko. There was very little room because you continue to live, eat, and stay together. So there was no time. Life in a joint family was not always perfect or easy. Amka, though, since there were a lot of people, there were a lot of opinions, there were a lot of expectations, there were a lot of differences also. But there was also compromise. And the experiences, must shikon geli. I don't think any other, place or any other circumstance would have taught me the lessons that family taught me. My family was like a mini institution with many different personalities, and because I think we were taught to cope, of course, I was not the only one, they also coped with us, me. So because we learned to cope with each other, I think life antu loka or to cope koruko mak mast easy zala. Ita manari, I realized that we had all kinds in our family, and because you learned to deal with all kinds, dealing with people became very, very easy for me going ahead. If we shared happiness, we shared responsibility too. When there was a celebration, saglani participate kartali, sagli participate kartali, and when there was a difficulty, everybody stood together. So no burden belonged entirely to one person, and no joy was celebrated alone. Looking back, I think my home was my first classroom, and I'm sure tumtain tashi just wala that your home was also your first classroom, the first school. So my grandparents taught me the importance of faith, tradition, and gratitude, most importantly. All my papas, pachis, mamas, mammies taught me that how care comes from many different people and in so many different forms. My cousins taught me friendships, they taught me caring, they taught me resilience, and they taught me the ability to laugh after disagreements. And the joint family itself taught me life's most valuable lessons, that we do not grow only as individuals, but we grow through relationships and other people. आम्ही लोकांना कितलं शिकता होता ती नकळत शिकता होता ती जाल्यार प्रत्येक person has something to give you, and if you decide to be the taker not selfishly, but if you decide to be the taker of good qualities from other people, then I think you go a long way. So my home shaped me in what I am today. My home has played a large role in how well I have done today. Those early years shaped the way I later understood teachers, teaching, and leadership. I think they taught me to listen to different voices, to respect different people, personalities, and to make space for others. And recognize, most importantly, I think recognize that every person has something valuable to contribute. Our families live in very different cities, countries, homes. So Amgale life took a different direction when our joint family did not remain a joint family. In 2003, we sold off our Gamdevi house. Sunil Bappa Shamay Pachi moved to Goregaon, we moved to Kandivli. So Amgal ghar change zala, our family was not under one roof. Zala a sense of belonging has never changed. It has never left any of us. So, though our life did take a different turn, memories, values, relationships that we created with each other during the years continue to remain just the same. So I think this joint family was not merely the setting of my childhood, it was the foundation of the person that I was becoming. So, how Marmanka, the home that raised me, we grew up with many voices, many guiding hands, and one shared sense of belonging.
It's the little things that make life big, the moments in between, a smile, a breath, a quiet joy, in places rarely seen. It's the little things that make life big, the gifts we sometimes miss, 1,000 tiny miracles in days as simple as this. The world can move so fast around you, with places left to go, but quiet moments in the day hold more than we may know. The beauty isn't always loud or shining from afar. Sometimes the things that matter most are simply where we are. When you stop and really take it in, there's a kindness in the air. All the beauty you were searching for has been here all along, right here. It's the little things that make life big, the moments in between, a smile, a breath, a quiet joy, in places rarely seen. It's the little things that make life big, the gifts we sometimes miss, 1,000 tiny miracles in days as simple as this. Not just in milestones, not just in plans, but in the gentle rhythm of ordinary hands. A quiet moment can show the way.
As a young girl, सगळ्यांत थोड advantage of staying in Gamdevi, I think, was being very closely knit with my community. Talmakiwadi, Anand Ashrama, Matunga colony, Magiri, अशी Santa Cruz colony, मस्तू close आशिल्ली, and fortunately for me, आमगेल मस्त relatives थंय रावतालीं. So we used to go very often. We were very involved with the community as a whole, because my amma sang, my grandparents were very involved with the community. So एक community's advantage आणि एक communityची बांधिलकी म्हाका मस्त सांधून मेळ्ळी. And I think, not sounding biased, Chitrapur Saraswat Brahmin community is a very educated, learned, very forward-thinking community, of which I am a very, very huge and a proud part of. So जशी घरच्यांना थान म्हाका शिकूं मेळ्ळा, तशीची म्हाका कम्युनिटीला थानूय शिकूं मेळ्ळा. मस्त शिकत गेली हांव as I grew. And as most young people do, I too thought that my life would look like this, आणि हांव त्या गोमटायकोन अशें मनांत आखिलें, आणि हांव लेकिलें की ओके अशी लायफ जातल म्हागेलें. So I imagined a future that would be clear, very orderly, आणि lots of possibilities. आणि हांव लेकिलें की ओके हांव बुदवन जाल्यारी, as आम खोड्ड केन्नाय सांगता ती की तूं बुदवन जाल्यारी, तूं बरी आसल्यारी, तूं सम वागल्यारी यू विल इन रिटर्न तुकाय समची वागयतली आनी तुकाय. So with this thought, I grew up thinking that I will plan the future the way I want it, and the future will be just like what I have planned. What I did not bargain for, that life has its own way of surprising you too, just as you plan. Life has स्वतः surprises असतात, which I had not bargained for. From a very young age, I think I knew that I wanted to become a teacher. Magal दोन मस्त teachers आगल influence us majori, but if I sit to talk about them, it will become a story or a program in itself. So I will name two main teachers who really influenced me, and I think more than influenced me, formed the base of what I thought was real teaching. Ek Malari, my nursery teacher, I used to go to New Activity Montessori School. So my nursery teacher by the name of Miss Marcia Condelac, she was a very kind-hearted soul. I think what I took away from my teachers mainly was their kindness. Curriculum किंवा अभ्यासू किंवा सिलेबस कोणें शिकोवचें आसता जाल्यार kindness is a value, I think, that is unique to an individual. So she was a very kind-hearted teacher. Whatever she taught with a lot of kindness. केन्ना हांव तिका खंयच्याय चायल्डान तूं she never differentiated between any child. तशीची then Miss Sathe, but now Miss Rekha Joshi, was my teacher in standard 2nd. And ek divasu, I knew I was not able to write an answer correctly. And ती magal makshi chashili, I could feel her. And हाँ लगला जाला था, now I'm getting a mar on my back. And suddenly I felt a pat. And she bent over, she almost came to my eye level, and she asked me, are you not understanding, child? And I think that was the turning moment for me in my life. And as a teacher to be, I think the main thing I had decided was a teacher al desk kari. In fact, in between a teacher's desk and a student's first bench, there is an invisible line that teachers during our time used to mostly draw. So you were not allowed to cross that line and go to that teacher's bench unless you were called for orals or you were called for some reason. So I had decided back then that if ever I become a teacher, which I knew somewhere I would let every pupil sit in my lap or get a chance to talk to me or get a chance to break ice with me, or let them come and share something with me as an individual, not as a teacher-student bond. So I think as a teacher, this was my biggest USP. Magal pratek in this 35 years of my life and my career, I think I have connected to every student as a human being, not as a teacher. And I think that somewhere along the way became my USP. So Tashichi Sanna chhod jatachi, I finished my 10th standard from St. Columba. I finished my graduation in psychology and English literature from Sophia's. From Sophia Polytechnic itself, I did my ECCE, or Early Childhood Care and Education, that's nursery teachers training. And I went on to take my first job in Lady Engineer at Tardev. And Magiri, I had a career stint at Carmelite Convent post my marriage for a good 11 years. At ह्या 1 वर्षांतू I had thought कि ह्या 12 वर्षांत 1 year of Lady Engineer and 11 years of Carmelite. हांवें केला की ओके हांव चेडवांक मस्त शिकोवनचें सो I did teach, but what I had not bargained for was what children would teach me. चेडवांनी म्हाका मस्त फर्स्टली पेशन्स शिकयला because the learning pace for every child is very different. Children taught me humility because एक पण आम्ही बेस्ट लेसन प्लॅन करून वतात ती आय एम शुअर ऑल द टीचर्स हू आर लिसनिंग टू मी विल रेझोनेट विथ दिस that you plan a lesson but something unexpected or meaningful comes up, also something goes wrong in your plan. So I think remaining humble at all times helps. Chalwani ma creativity shikeli because every time एक approach works जायना, you have to adapt to different approaches. वसई हांव इकर वर्स शिकयतना मदें तुज लायट वतालें, मदें तुजी थंय वार भयंकर आसतालें स्कुलांत, सो पावस भितर मारतालो, so I had to take them to one corner where the water would not seep in on them, and I had to change their places. I had to change the way they sit. तांकां blackboard दिसनाशिल्लो, so I had to call them to the teacher's table to copy from the blackboard whatever they needed to write down. So अशी मस्त creative ways मागीर हांव सोदून काडल्या to teach them. They taught me honesty. इता म्हळ्यार कल जाता चेडवां मस्त clarity आनी मस्त खऱ्या वेन तांकां express करतात. So I think looking at them, I learned to be honest in I think whatever I did, whatever I said along the way, because ती खरी असताली. Like I would have children come and tell me, teacher, mummy said tell you that we had fever but we had actually gone to Goa or we had gone to Dubai. Ashi excuses हांव आयकताली. So I think I learned honesty from them. तांणी म्हाका तांकां सान्न वेजान forgiveness शिकयलें because it for me I learned from them as to how they went from disappointment to joy in just a moment. San vaggi they switch. Children forgive very easily, so I think that was something I adapted from them and learned to forgive as I moved. But most of all, I think what they taught me was hope was something that I took away big time from my children. So every child who walked into my classroom gave me hope to do better, gave me ideas to do better, because they all had a different way of learning. So how must evolve जाता गेली, I learned to create better for them. So थोडी child confident आशिल्ली, थोडी confident ना आशिल्ली, थोडी were learned to learn quickly, some were not so quick learners. But I think in all this, what they taught me was that everybody, each and every one of my student had something special in them, that all of them were waiting to emerge. And I think this by far formed a large part of what kind of a teacher I eventually became. I think एक सगळ्यांत व्हड lesson as a teacher that I learned was चेडवांकने आमी कल शिकयल्लें आसता उगडास वरना, but they always remember if they were seen, if they were heard, and most importantly if they were believed in. I think this was the biggest lesson that I learned as a teacher. वर्स धांवली, मागीर आमी वसयतान बॉम्बे आयलीं, आमी कांदिवली सेटल जालीं. Then I moved on from being a teacher to becoming the preschool head, and my responsibilities grew. I moved directly from working with children to working with my teachers, and I realized that even when I was working with my teachers, it was not very different from the scenario of children. My teachers also had their own strengths. They came with their own uniqueness. They came with their own qualities. They were they ranged largely from an age group of someone of my age to someone very young. I have teachers whom I've worked with who are younger than my daughter. In fact, my latest uh, uh, entry, is an 18-year-old, just 18 and just out of 12th standard, and is now learning to teach, doing teacher training and is learning to teach. सो प्रत्येक प्लॅना मागची, प्रत्येक पॉलिसी मागची, प्रत्येक प्रोग्रामा मागची, प्रत्येक डिसिजना मागची मगल्या there was always a child and a belief that every child deserves to feel capable, which I think is very important. आम्ही प्रत्येकाने एक you are capable ह्या feeling देऊन का, and the children were the reason that gave meaning to my work, and they continue to remind me that education is not only about shaping minds, but it's also about nurturing confidence, character and joy. I think first time when I entered a classroom, I entered with this thought that how chalma shiketali, a teacher's job is to teach children. But as so many years passed by, I realized that my children, the teachers who worked under me gave me so much that they shaped me into what I am today. So my entire career of 35 years rests on those children and my teachers that I met along the way. So just as how तुमक मगल दोन्ही teachers angle example दिला who inspired me to become a teacher, I will leave this chapter 2 with two incidents that influenced me majorly. Both happened in Carmelite convent. I will not name the children, but I will tell you about the incidents. The first incident was Tani senior KG in grade 1 Nantvatana, they had to pay some peculiar amount of fees for getting into the formal school. So it was Carmelite convent was a state board school. आणि सिनियर केजींतल्यान ग्रेड 1 वतना 235 रुपीज अशी तांणी कलकी भर आशिल्ला. आणि दोज डेज वर अ स्टोरी ऑफ 4 आना 8 आना. So I was very bad at math in school. I'm still not very good. So Winfred used to be my cashier for that day, and I would make sure that come what may, he would take a holiday and come with me to count that money. And I had about 80 children in my class. So 80 into 235 is to amount to quite a lot of money, which he would count, and we would stack away. At the end of the day, एक पेरेंट आयली आणि तिका अशी निर्यालाक जाग अशी उसयलो आणि she put a mountain full of change on my table. So I think this was my second year of teaching, and I was still a fairly impatient soul back then. So I looked up at her and I raised my eyebrows. So she told me, she said, "Ma'am, हे 235 रुपये आहेत. तुम्हाला जर माझ्यावर विश्वास असेल तर तुम्ही न मोजता हे घाला, पण तुम्हाला जर मोजायचं असेल तर ती मनापासून हात जोडून माका सॉरी म्हणायची." She said, "Sorry, I got this change." So then Winfred told me, he said, "It's all right. If it's about 5-10 rupees less, we will put in that money, but let us take it for now." Because it was the fag end of the day, neither of us had the patience to count that money. Later, when we were doing the final count, it turned out to be exactly 235 rupees. And this episode ended there. About, say, a month or so later, as the child already passed out and the vacation was over and we'd come back to school, I met that same parent at the corner road of that school. So she with a little attitude what prompted you to bring so much chutta and give me? So that's when she got teary eyed, and I think as I'm telling the story, even forgive me if I get teary eyed. But she told me that she's a vada pav wali. She sells vada to make a living. And she said, my main reason behind doing it day and night is that I do not want my child to also sell vada pav the way I do. And let me very proudly tell you that that child became a chartered accountant. And the child is doing very, very well now in life. The child is still in touch with me. In fact, the Chaldan Maka, when we reconnected on Facebook, the child said that, ma'am, I have become a CA and the A in my C belongs to you. So, hi incident dan mak masto. It shook me and it changed me from inside. The second incident that I would like to narrate to you is a little heavy, but I think why I'm telling you all is I would want you to know the points at which life turned for me and evolved me I evolved as a person. So second incident was by then I had matured and I had already become a mother. Reva was already there. So I had learned to take children patiently, but ek chaldu used to consistently bring an empty snack dabba to school. So by then, how I had learned to stock my own snacks at school, and I used to always keep a biscuit packet ready for children in case tangal dabba padlo, spills alla. I used to make sure that I carried enough or I had enough to give them. So every day I would religiously share about 5-6 biscuits with the child but this continued for about 2 or 3 months. So after which then naturally I thought I needed to address this as a teacher to the parent. So when the first PTM happened, what is it? Why is that child coming with an empty tiffin? That mother told me, it still shakes me. I think that was one of the main reasons that थोड़े जवलर हरकत ना but waste को नस जावनो and you must be very careful with how life treats you. This was one of the first qualities that I think I taught Reva and embedded in her. That त्या वचून म्हाका सांगला, she saying, ma'am, I'm a dowry case आणि my entire family keeps me hungry the whole day, but I need to survive for the sake of this child. She's my only child, and I dread to think of what will happen to her without a mother. So the only meal I eat in this entire day are her snacks. The childal snacks the aus khatali, and the mother survived solely on that snack. So, Sankt Tatparyamari, life led me into a classroom where I discovered patience and joy. It placed me in leadership roles where I learned responsibility, collaboration. It brought a lot of challenges along that strengthened my resilience, my understanding. It offered new beginnings that reminded me that life ekaz age rabbana mukharvata varta. And it has also taught me a great lesson that dreams do not fade when life takes a turn. Dreams become richer, deeper, and maybe a little different, but you have to learn to dream to begin again. So this was the lesson that I took away from my teaching and training perspective. Magal, in fact, I was one of the pioneer 13 to do a Cambridge program leader course where how teachers and early childhood care education as course karel or Cambridge also. And 10 candidates of mine already have a Cambridge certificate, Aptal Tangal certificate. So they just arrived on Monday. Today is Tuesday that I'm recording this. They just arrived yesterday. So it is a proud moment for me. Amgal, dreams should begin with what we want to achieve. Zalar, I think eventually your dreams evolve you into something. The kind of person that you're going to become should make a positive difference in everybody's world. I think my chapter 2 saru, or the gist of my chapter 2 is that we must make our dreams work, and if life throws challenges or turns your dreams into ways that you don't want it to turn, then I think we must look at alternatives to face those challenges that come our way.
Still they're hanging heavy in the room since yesterday. Winter's overstayed, it's welcome time to clear the gray. Dust motes floating lazy in a beam of morning light. Walk into the glass, I'm gonna make the feeling right. Hand upon the latch, I slide it back with ease, ready for the rush of the early morning breeze. Open the window, let the fresh air flood the space, chasing out the shadows, putting sunshine in their place. Curtains start to flutter like they're learning how to dance. Spring is walking in, giving me a brand new chance. Open the window, sounds of distant traffic and a bird begins to sing. Simple little noises that the change of seasons bring. Coffee in my hand, I'm watching winter melt away. Nothing on my mind except the promise of the day. Hand upon the latch, I slide it back with ease, ready for the rush of the early morning breeze. Open the window, let the fresh air flood the space, chasing out the shadows, putting sunshine in their place. Curtains start to flutter like they're learning how to dance. Spring is walking in, giving me a brand new chance. Open the window, it's not just about the room, it's clearing out my head, waking up the energy that felt a little dead. A natural reset, breathing in the new sky is looking limitless.
Atto, let's talk about my wings, as my chapter suggested. Amgal, roots must important astati, which I already spoke about. My grandparents, my relatives, my cousins, my extended family. Zarar amgal wings maklekta saglans third important astati. And my wings are the 4 people around whom my life revolves. I will reveal the 5th, but I think my 4 most important pillars I'm going to be talking about, who are my wings, who give me the strength to fly, are my parents, my husband, and my daughter. My Amma, Geeta Ennamadi, and my Anna, Vivek Ennamadi. I think after seeing them for so many years together, I think that they are the uh, most ideal combination, and they're 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 made for each other. They're not made for each other, they complement each other. But I think what I took away from them when I got married, and what I used most, I think, what what I learned from them was that they filled in for each other very beautifully. एकल्याक जमन आशिल त्या दुसरो करतालो आनी दुसऱ्याक जमन आशिल त्या एके करतालो. So I think that is a quality that most of us should take away, that it's not yours is yours and mine is mine, but I think if you learn to fill in for each other as a unit, you evolve very beautiful as a unit eventually after many rock solid years of your marriage. Much Khatar especially, I think they stood and they still stand as one unit. तीन हांव म्हळ्यार तोवे हांव म्हणटा, तीन ना म्हळ्यार तोवे ना म्हणटा, and the same. तान हांव म्हळ्यार ती हांव म्हणटा, तान ना म्हळ्यार तिवे ना म्हणटा. So as a child, I couldn't really play around much with them, as most of today's children do. They play the father versus the mother and the mother versus the father. जाल्यार म्हाका अशें करूं जाय न्ही. Then I knew that if it was a yes from one, it was a yes from the other. If it was a no, it was a no either ways. What I learned collectively from them, and I think which came in of use and is still coming in use for me, is their nature to adapt to any kind of circumstance. I think that is extremely important in this life. I remember my mother giving me two rock solid advices. One that she had said, Chalda, सगळ्या लोकांतू एक बर असता आणि एक वाईट असता. बर एक घेवनचा शिक आणि वाईट सोडू शिक. As a child, I think I never really understood and fathomed the depth of that sentence. But as I flowed along, I realized that yes, लोकांत बर सोदू जाता आणि वाईट सोडू जाता. And eventually, I think it became a large part of my nature, that I learned to search for the good in any person that I met in the course of my life, and I learned to take that good, learn from that good of that person, use it as a strength if needed, and I learned to let the bad be or the bad rest. And I think if you let it be and encourage the good in the opposite person, I think that person also reciprocates equally happily. Not that I did not have any bad experiences. Yes, one advice that my mother gave me, which I of course later revised while giving it to Reva, was she said, Chalda, tu बर करतवचो आणि तुजवट बर जातला. The thing with most of us is, आमी बर करताती, but आमी बर त्याच पर्सन जातानू एक्सपेक्ट करताती. आणि I think थंय आमी चुकताती. What the universe does is, the universe counts your good, but doesn't ever, make it come back to you, or you get it back via the same person. त्या खंय थानपुणी, कोणाला थानपुणी, कोणालागी थानपुणी परत येता. It never really comes back from the same person. But आमगल कल जाता आमी त्याच पर्सनाला थानता एक्सपेक्ट करता. So when I told Reva, I said good begets good, but not from that same person. So you're going to do good, but you're not going to expect good from that same person. But that good will come back to you in some form or the other if you honestly be good and do good. So that's as far as my Amma's advice goes. Another thing as a small child that she would tell me was, she would tell it to me like a story. He had to go train. She used to say, "Tu gal train. Okay, you're taking your train ahead. At पहिले तू gal train आणि कोण चढता ती? अम्मा अन्ना चढता ती, आजी आज्जा चढता ती, रिलेटिव्स चढताती, कजन्स चढताती. मागिरी हळूहळू त्या ट्रेन मुखार वतना फ्रेंड्स चढताती, टीचर्स चढताती. There are people who climb into the train and they will decorate your train. They will make it look beautiful. थोडे जाण पडदे घालतली, थोडे जाण सीट्स डेकोरेट करतली, थोडे जाण तुका ट्रेन पेंट करतली. शी तशीची थोडी लोक तांतुली तुका ट्रेनारी गिचुयतली, बरयतली, कलपुणी कापतली, सीट्स कापतली. They will hurt you, they will hurt that train. But eventually you are the engine driver of your train and you have to take your train forward. So it depends on how you take it. And very beautifully she had told me that पळा तुका ट्रेनान तू कशी लोक चढतात ती आता अम्मा अण्णा चढली, पाऊस चढलो, विनफ्रेड चढलो, एवा चढली, तशीची there will come a time when everybody will leave your train. थोडी जाण दूर जाता ती लायफान तू फॉर सम रिजन लोक आमतलाथान सुटता ती, रिलेशनशिप्स तुंबता ती. Sometimes you have to let go of your relatives. Most of you all now know that कि आमी आमगल अम्मा को, अन्ना को, आजी को, आज्जा को सोडका लागता at one point in time. So ती म्हाका सांगिल्लें तशी तुका ट्रेनांतल्यान आमी देंवतली. You never know. Children nest सोन वता ती. You become empty nesters. But त्या एंड थाय तुका डेस्टिनेशन थाय तुमची त्या ट्रेनाक मुखार व्हरतली. सो विचार कोण त्या ट्रेन गोमटेय कोण चल्लय आनी गोमटेय कोण मुखार व्हरी. बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू बी इन योर ट्रेन टिल द व्हेरी एंड. सो हाऊ यू कीप योर ट्रेन अँड हाऊ यू टेक इट अहेड इज ओनली अप टू यू. अँड आय थिंक that instead of giving deep philosophy and explaining deep meanings in life, I think that trainala relate kon must easy kon dilla life. Because then I really saw it that yes, there are certain people who damage your train and there are certain people who decorate your train, but you are your own engine driver. So how you are going to take your train ahead is only up to you. So I think tandorn how challal miti, it became very easy for me to take it ahead. My persona largely, I think, is like my dad. He is a man of very few words, but he has a fantastic sense of humor. And I think he's somebody who knows, who has his feet placed firmly on the ground. I think being grounded really helped me a lot in life. And what I loved about my dad was my mom took a little while to be more sociable, and I think her circle was mostly the Amchigal circle, but my dad had a wide variety of friends. And I think what I took away from him were two very important things in life. एक तरी तान म्हाका सांगिल्लें की चेडा चौपाटी शेंगदाण घालतरी ती शेंगदाण्या पुडी उगोवन तें वाची. That will have something to give you. So I became a voracious and a very hungry reader thanks to him. And the second advice, I think, without giving advice, what he taught me was how you must have friends from all kinds of walks in life. So tangal pedda rodari friends ashili, tangal girgaon चाळीन तुई friends ashili, tangal they had friends from all over. And what I learned at a very young age from him was ती कितली गोमट कोण adapt करताली. Their quality to adapt to that situation, I think, was what I took away from him. Pedda rodar वचुलारी, how they would behave with that crowd. आणि त्या गिरगांव चाळींत वचुलारी आमी तगू बैसुनूय हांव जेवताली. But what I think I took away from that whole thing was enjoying every moment that you are with those people. And कशी enjoy करचा, and how you adapt to that kind of, how you adapt to that opposite person's culture. And I think this also helped me go a long way in where I have come today. Because the opposite person पळेल की I know how to deal with that person. So be it anybody, I think from 0 to 100, my adaptability comes very easily because of, I think, this nature of my dad. And I think I have him largely to thank. I mean, I have him to thank. Sorry, I have to thank him for that. कि तन मगल हाँ जर्नी मस्ती easy खोन गई. I think I was, I am, and I will always be his princess. I was thoroughly pampered. I think I really had a nice childhood thanks to level-headed parents who knew the fine line of disciplining and loving without spoiling. I think, and because that entire family sang the same song, it became very easy to know what is right and what is wrong. So I think that is as far as my dad goes. I will talk next about my dear husband, Winfred Lobo, who came into my life in 1991 and has stood strong with me up to date. Winfred came into my life in 1991, and as I said, we got married in 93. So when we decided that we'd get married, on our first date, आता दोन conditions खाली that I will not be able to leave my parents or stay away from them because I'm an only child. They're my responsibility. And though it was our joint family was strong back then, but then I knew that as their only child, they were my owners, not my cousins. So so I told them that if you have plans to go abroad, or if you have other plans of settling somewhere else out of Bombay, then let us say tata bye bye at this very moment itself, because my parents are somebody whom I will not be able to let go of or stay away from. My second condition to him was my best friend is a man. Alright, Mahesh Tamane was somebody I met at my Bombay University choir. We used to sing together, and we developed a deep bond. So I told him that most friendships that are like this break after marriage because the husband side or the husband himself insists that that's a law, so attuta lagi, you're not going to stay in touch. So I said that is not going to happen because he's really my best friend, and we had promised each other when we became best friends that we are going to be best friends till the end of our lives. So Mahesh was my second condition, and I think I really thank Winfred because without batting an eyelid, Tani had only conditions of home. Immediately he said yes. He said thank you for being very frank, and I respect what you said. And he said don't worry. I mean, I know your parents don't have anybody else but you, and I think when we'll cross the bridge when we come to it, but when we come to it, we'll do it together. And second thing was Mahesh. He said, I'm very happy you said that he's your best friend and not your mubola bhai and stuff like that. So he said, thank you, Sangil Khatira, Ani. I accept your best friend and he will continue. And Mahesh is a large part of our family today. So I must really thank him for being so broad-minded back then. And now to come to how our life post-marriage was. I think आम्ही सगळ्या विषयावर झगडली. We fought on everything under the sun, but religion. In fact, I think religion was the last thing on our minds when we got married. We in fact got married some 4-5 times. थर्ड में एक आमगेल कोर्ट वेडिंग जाल्लें, फोर्थ में एक सकाळी आमगेल हिंदू वेडिंग जाल्लें, मागीर सांजे आमगेल एक रिसेप्शन जाल्लें, मागीर वापस रेवागल वेळारी बिकॉज वी हॅड टू बॅप्टायज हर, परत वी हॅड टू गेट मॅरिड. सो वी हॅड सम 3-4 and we had a church blessing also on the 4th itself. सो अशी मस्त मॅरेजेस करता करता आय थिंक दॅट स्ट्रेंथन द होल रिलेशनशीप मोर. इट कायंड ऑफ सिमेंटेड इट. एक पण लग्न केल्यारय स्ट्रॉंग जाता, 4 पण केल्यारय आनी स्ट्रॉंग जाता. सो आय थिंक दॅट वॉज इट फॉर अस. बट I think I admire him because, to marry a strong person is fun. But I think to live with a strong person and maintain your calm through it all is, I think, very commendable. So he is the calm and I am the storm. So I think we've maintained a fine balance between that. Of course, हाँ मस्करीन तश लोका म्हणतात की the real reason for a happy marriage is that we don't see each other 6 days a week. He lives at the resort he's working with for the last 31 years, Silent Hills Resort, and I live at home with Amma and Anna and Reva. But jokes apart, I think it really takes something to stand stronger with a strong woman. I wouldn't say against, I'm sorry, with a strong woman. So I think you need to be very secure within yourself if you have a persona who is very strong, who's very bindas, that is what most people say looking at my personality, that must have bindas also. So, but I think it really takes you to be strong within to kind of, stand beside a person like that. He is my culinary guru. I think right from cha kaisi kurcho samajh barocha to how to cook well is something I will give him sole credit for. Though my mother and my aunt and my Anama तेग्गा जाणांनी मस्त ट्राय केला, मस्त वेजांनी, but I did not learn. But I think the way he taught it, if you all remember watching the beginning episodes of Khana Khazana, where Sanjeev Kapoor made complicated dishes very easy. I think Winfred Lobo made our complicated life very easy. And in fact, made cooking seem very easy when he taught me. So he said, just touch kocha. And you wait for the right amount. And he was the one who had given me a fantastic tip. Ki chicken, mutton, shidzedana, then 90% shidzunga. And then you switch the gas off and leave it on the gas so that the summer shista. Adequately shista. Nazala 200% shidzonu band kelar gas. That's all overcooks it. So small things like this, I think, help me become, I won't say a great master chef, but yes, definitely I mastered the art of cooking. Cooking is a major de-stressor for me. It is very cathartic for me. So whenever I dish out some 10 good dishes, I'm in deep stress. So that is as far as Winfred goes. But I think when we went ahead and adopted Reva, for most of you who don't know that she's adopted, ती कमी adopt करताना, ती घेताना, I loved what he had told the person who had come for a home survey. Tantik Sangila, that I see my wife running back to her parents. She's very attached to them, and I want a baby girl because I want my girl to come running back to me when she is ready for it. And after, I'll introduce the 5th person in my life. Reva just got engaged. She's marrying a Tamilian Brahmin by the name of Sriram Nilkantan, and they just got engaged on 20th June. So it's a very fresh engagement. She will be getting married in the next February. So we are going to be taking we are going to be stepping into a new role in our life, that is of being a mother-in-law and a father-in-law, and we are quite excited about it. It's nice to have a young grown-up son. Like somebody said, he's a ready-made son. He's all out to do the tough and rough things that our dainty daughter won't do or wouldn't do. So it's like having a strong hand in the house now, and I'm looking forward to the journey ahead and all the excitement and fun that is going to bring. So my son-in-law comes from a very humble typical Tamilian background, where they're very God-fearing and very simple people. And I'm happy my daughter is going to a family like that, because I think what we have always upheld and what we have always put as a priority are values and education, and she's getting into a family that has just that, and I feel the rest in life will automatically follow. So that's as far as Winfred goes. And I think Winfred, I again thank Winfred for being the son-in-law that he has. I think he's a son-in-law only in name, because आम्ही केन्ना हांगा कांदिवली सांगाती शिफ्ट जाली आनी गामदेवी सोडलें आमी वसई सोडलें. We moved in together here at Kandivli in Thakur village. Up to I think about 10 years after we moved here, people thought that he was the son and I was the daughter-in-law. I'm not going to get into the details of all this, but I think that should tell all of you how much he loves my Amma and Nana and how much he has done for them. For people to just think that thoughts are law anyhow soon. People were really taken aback when I said, no, I am the daughter and he's the son-in-law. Second incident I would like to relate to you, not because it's directly related to religion, but I think it is more of your faith inside. At every year we have a ritual around Ganpati time. आम्ही एक विजिट सिद्धिविनायक करताती आणि एक विजिट माउंट मेरी करताती. We are not very religious people, we are very spiritual people, but Ganpati and Mount Mary are something we really strongly believe in. So एक विजिट आमगल सिद्धिविनायक आसताची आणि एक विजिट आमगल माउंट मेरी आसताची. So this was before Reva was born, and I was pretty young and very strong-headed at that time. I still am, but my strong-headedness has it's a lot of degrees lesser than what it was back then. So आम्ही सिद्धिविनायक वचुली, and we still have a ritual where आम्ही त्या 21 coconuts देवाक दिवन येताती for all the good that has happened through the year, for all the blessings that he has given us for all the whole of the year. So त्या वर्सा for the last about I think 2-3 years Winfred had been carrying that huge thing, and it's quite heavy because the 21 coconuts are offering us that. So suddenly magthe matte ala, are I'm a Hindu, so I'm going to carry it. Every time this fellow carries it, म्हणून आता ताका हातान थानू ताण घेतला. ताण घेतला आणि आमी वचुली त्या लायनान राबली. मागीर त्या मुखार त्या टेंपल आयला, तशें आमी त्या गाभाराला पावली, त्या गुडीन पावली भितरी. आणि इवेंच्युअली त्या बॅलन्स करता करताची म्हाका हात अशी जाला अँड आय वॉज स्टक विथ दॅट टब. तो मुखार आशिल्लो, अँड बिलीव इट ऑर नॉट, त्या प्रिस्टान ताका टॅप, दॅट प्रिस्ट डिडंट इवन नो दॅट we were together. Okay, that priest just saw the distress I was in because I was stuck अशी वयर त्या टब आणि हांव हांगा अशी शिरकल्ली. I was stuck from both the sides. So that priest अशी ताका विनफ्रेड फाटी टॅप केलें and he said, बोला दो. आणि इवेंच्युअली विनफ्रेड स्माईल and विनफ्रेडान त्या म्हाका हातान तान घेतलें आणि त्या देवाक तागेल्याच हातान चडलें. Why I'm sharing this is I think the faith and the integrity with which you do things. I think I fortunately married a man who has a completely pure heart, pure intention, and very clean person. So I think God taught me a lesson then and there. So as soon as I went home and I told my Amma this, she said, परत आणि लायफान तशें केन्नाय करूं नाका. And to date, I think that 21 नारला टब Winfred only carries, and now of course Reva carries it. But at the time, Winfred carry karta. So that is one incident I would like to tell you specifically. Where that kind of a man is the man I'm fortunately married. If God gives you return gifts for all the good that you do intentionally, unintentionally, subconsciously, I think it is my baby Reva. She came to us, she was no short of a miracle. She came exactly 9 months after my grandmother was gone. My Annama died on 8th February 1997. Reva was born on 14th February 1997. Titi lekane tangal same date ashila. Tangal lunar birthdays is same. Both of them are born on 14th November. My granny was 14th November 1917 and Reva is 14th November 1997. Everybody was happy that, the moment when we had gone to see her first before the process happened, Tikami, the first thing we asked was, how old is she? They said roughly around 3.5 to 4 months, and we said, what's her birth rate? And the moment we heard 14 November, we said, we're taking her home. We didn't even, she was fast asleep. And when Winfred held her first, she opened her eyes and gave him the brightest smile ever. And I think that is when we decided she's ours. So, अशी रेवा आमगेल लायफान आनी अशी ती अशी तिगल काणी स्टार्ट जाली. The only difference when she came into our lives was one day we had nobody beside us, and next day we suddenly had a baby right in between us, and we were clueless. The first night we spent sleepless because we did not know अयो आमगल हाथ हिजेर पडल्यारी पाय हिजेर पडल्यारी because we were used to sleeping any which ways, and suddenly she was in between us. But believe me, I think children also know somewhere that their adjustment levels need to be at best. She was such a darling baby आणि तिनं आमकां खरें कसलोय त्रास दिनी. I remember Shamal Pachi once saying that he just विनय 10 चल्ड हांव पळयन. She was that quiet. We never knew how she grew up and when she kind of finished her teenage. She was a very sorted child right from the beginning. Survivor Sari, 9 months she was potty trained. Survivor Sari, she used to independently eat. 3 वर्सारी एक पण when she was 3 years old, म्हाका एक जोर फाटीन कॅच आयलो. So much so that I couldn't get out of bed. It was that bad. थोडे वेळान I fell asleep and त्या दिवस मला कर्म धर्म संयोगान my maid did not turn up. So थोड्या वेळान म्हाका अशी जागृत जाली and I heard utensils, and this little child of 3 years was sitting on the ota and washing utensils. So I think if God blessed me with any understanding soul in my life who kind of came as a respite to all the tough things that I faced after I went to lead a very different life in Vasai, where I went from a 24-hour electricity to an 8-hour electricity cut. I went from 24 hours water to a 1-hour water daily. I went from a house of 2 to 3 servants to no servants. So she came like somebody who I think understood. The day I would be upset that Chaldu Magal Payar Baisun Magal Gal Purshitala. And I really don't know where that understanding came from, but still, I think to date, if she sees me upset, or she doesn't even see me upset. Most of the people don't know that I'm upset, even when I'm really upset. I think I've learned to kind of camouflage it very well, or I put up a very good facade and people think I'm in the best of my moods all the time. But I think somewhere instinctively that child knows that what exactly I'm going through. So I think she was my balm to the struggles I had before I did not conceive, and many more things like that. आणि त्या child now it is very difficult to tell a child that she's adopted. So त्या child when I had to tell her, I started telling her
a story about us, and I told her the whole thing in the form of a story. And I think that made it much easier for her to accept the fact that, so this is the reality. So the only lies in my story was that Mama was a good girl and Daddy was a good boy. But I think I told her that, Mama grew up in her own house and Daddy grew up in his own house, and then we fell in love when we wanted to get married. Then we got married and we wanted a baby. But Mama had a problem in her stomach and we could not get a baby. So we went to a place where babies had no mamas and daddies, and we brought you, and that is how we got a baby, and you got a mama daddy. And just as mama and daddy love each other, though they are not related, we love you and you love us. And I think that made it very, very easy for her. And because something Sandon hi Kani Santali, it became a part of her life, and I think she adapted to it very quickly. Because I remember telling her that, Reva, other people are born from their mama's stomachs, but you are extra special because you're born from your mama's heart. And I think somewhere that child has really lived up to that statement. Magal life and I think Konait like not my amma or not my cousins or not even Winfred, but that Chaldu, my child, is a really obedient and a wonderful, wonderful baby. I think I'm really blessed that child. And Maka, at times I really don't know who played the mother, whether she mothered me or I mothered her, or it was a give and take process. But I think that child really emerged a winner in terms of really understanding my parents, my Mary. The child आपने सांदोन मस्त समजूतदारपण आशिल्लो. In a building, कोणाली झगडी जाल्यारी चेडवांक घाली, they would call her, ए रेवा चल ना, उधर झगड़ा हो रहा है, प्लीज वो झगड़ा तू उनको ठंडा करना. अशी she was the fight sorter, if that's the correct word. She would separate people and make them understand. So Sand on that child apne upjat understanding ashila, and I think very few mothers are blessed with this kind of quality in their children. So I think my biggest thanks today would go to her for standing beside me through it all. I think all four of them played a huge part in my career, because if I had to be away for long hours, each of them in their own way sacrificed and put things aside and made up for the absence that was. And when I was absent, like my mother pitched in and helped her do things. Winfred pitched in and went for her PTMs when I could not attend. Unfortunately, I had my PTMs and I had to be there as the head of early years. Technical PTM asala. So Tavatalo. Tamay Chaldu, she adjusted. She would see other people's mothers were there for certain functions. I tried to make it for most of them, but where I just couldn't be there, then she would understand and she would say, no, my mother is making some other child happy, so I must understand. So I think Tanni must as a foursome, they put a lot together so that I could continue with my journey. And I think I have a lot to thank them for in terms of this. I think mostly kadna लगता थी that the success is ours, the achievement is mine, हाँ है केला है, हाँ क्या केला है. But no, it's never us. It is the people behind us who help us in some or the other. Even house helps, they play such a large part in because of which you can go out and do something. So I think along with them, I think my Archana, Ankita play a large part in the way we could build our home and keep it the way we have kept it. So प्रत्येकाने खारी वांट असतात, तुगेल colleagues, your friends, your your in-laws, your nieces, your nephews, your everybody in some way or the other ends up supporting you, ends up advising you, so that you kind of build on that and make your career. So it's, I think, somewhere along the way, even if these were my four main pillars, I think there's been a lot of support from other people to for me to become what I have become today.
There's a light beyond the doorway, shining softly through the years. A place where every broken heart can lay down all its fears. Photographs and faded stories hanging proudly on the wall. Every smile, every memory still echoes through the hall.
And when the world feels far away, when the road is hard to climb, I remember where my journey started, and I find my strength inside.
Home is where love begins, where every dream first learns to fly,
Where caring hands can lift us up
and teach our hearts
to touch the sky.
Home is where hope remains through every season, joy and pain.
No matter where this life may lead, that love will guide me home again.
Morning sunlight through the window, laughter dancing in the air. Simple moments made extraordinary by the people gathered there.
Every lesson, every sacrifice, every prayer along the way
Built a foundation strong enough
to carry me through every day.
though the years may change the landscape.
And tomorrow's still unknown. The love that grew within these walls will always be my home.
Home is where love begins, where every dream first learns to fly.
Where caring hands can lift us up
And teach our hearts
to touch the sky.
home is where hope remains through every season.
Joy and pain, no matter where this life may lead, that love will guide me home again. When the nights are long and lonely, and the answers aren't so clear, I can hear familiar voices reminding me they're near.
Every road I've ever traveled, every mountain I have climbed,
Leads me back to where I learned the meaning of this life.
home is where love begins, the heart of every memory,
The place that taught me who I am.
and all that I can be.
Home is where hope remains. Light that
In the many hats that I wore in life, I think life gave me very different roles to play, and each role shaped me very differently. As a daughter and a family member, I learned gratitude. As a wife, I learned companionship and adjustment. As a mother, I learned patience, worry, hope, and unconditional love. And as a teacher and as a head of a section, I learned to believe in possibility. As a leader, I learned that leadership is not all about knowing everything, but it is about helping others grow. As a friend, I learned the value of listening. And as a caregiver, I learned that some of the most meaningful work in life is often the work that nobody sees. So अश मस्त roles हांव carry केला आणि each role taught me to always be, I think, graceful and grateful both. So म्हाका मस्त मजा आयली in wearing the many hats that I wore. And now I will sum it up with how new beginnings brought new challenges and how I learned to deal with those challenges. अशी मस्त दिवस येताले when I would manage an entire school annual day single-handedly, from the decor of the outside, the foyers, to everything else. जाल्यार सडनली म्हाका उगडास जातालें की अयो हांव चावी खंय दवरल्यो, and I would be lost for something as simple as the keys. There were days when I felt like all women feel that अयो सगळ्यांक मला थंय at the same time कलपुणी जाय. Anna amma needed me for something, Winfred needed me for something. My house helps would call me when I was in the midst of a speech. So I went on fine-tuning my life as I went ahead, because I realized that I needed to put that most important gadget called phone on a flight mode, because invariably how speechaच मध्ये असताना केन्नाय phone येताले. So that was the first thing I learned, how to switch on and switch off very beautifully from home and your workplace, which was, I think, one of the biggest challenges that I dealt with. So अशी ती life went on. रेवाल स्कूल जालें, रेवाल कॉलेज जालें, ती हॉटेल मॅनेजमेंट तितून फूल कोर्स केल्ले. शी इन Oberoi she worked as a trainee and she won the best trainee award. मागीर ती air hostess जाली. She joined I think she joined Go Air first, मागीर ती विस्तारा वचुली, आणि last year when Vistara and Air India merger जाला, currently she's a cabin crew with Air India. Winfred continued his journey, he's still continuing his journey with Silent Hills Resort, and we all continued together to stay as a unit in Kandivali, Thakur village. We still are. Zalari, many times in life, Kalzata, the path that we've carefully planned begins to change. And tashichi, the change sometimes is gradual, the change sometimes arrives suddenly. So last year, year before last, in 24, there were quite a lot of ups and downs that happened. Amal health haru fail जावन चसूर जाला. She developed an autoimmune thyroiditis and an autoimmune scleroderma together. So I think suddenly she was the main pillar that had held the house more than us together. And suddenly I found that I had to, along with my school, I had to also shoulder the responsibility of home. Like I said, my house helps were used to telling her that I he samplay, I te samplay. So suddenly it was me who had to take over and suddenly start, planning the house also together. So gradually, I think I learned how to work out a fine home and work life balance. And then I had to, kind of move my entire priority of the house to the weekend, where I would tell them, okay, now give me a list of whatever you want over the week, and then I would fix all that before getting to school on Monday. So that also came as a huge challenge, and but we managed to put it together. Again, last year, like I said, Revan job change kalmiti, Ammal health fails almiti, Anna also faced all spine issues. So Winfred and I had to, kind of take over the roles, as they were our caretakers before that, and then we became caregivers after that. So हळू आमगल roles चे switch जातं गेलं. आणि last year, a 25 end brought in more changes in our life. I mean, first we got to know of the house in Gamdevi, which now we are proud owners of. Gamdevi Jain Dairy opposite on the first floor. We purchased a house around Dasra last year. So that was a big change. It was actually more of a redemption, I think. It was more of coming back to your roots. Swami ka ghar ghetla. We bought it more honestly for Amma and Nana, because Tang Kami, we thought we took them away from Gamdevi, and we settled in Thakur village, so we wanted to give them something that would bring them back to their community, and of course bring us also back, because Winfred and Magal Pura first dating days were around that place. We dated on Marine Drive, and Angal, most of our pre-marital days and the first 2 years of our married life were largely spent in Gamdevi, because he was working in Bombay Central before he joined Silent Resort in '95. So it was very it still feels very surreal. We got that house done up, and we decided that we would take them off and on there, and make it a fine balance between Gamdevi and Kandevi. The next change, and a very surprising change, came when Maka Campion School Anthan offer aila, because Campion was transiting from ICSC to now going to Cambridge. And because I was very deeply involved with Cambridge, firstly as an early years leader, so Cambridge would call me a lot to do their conferences, and in 2023 I went on to becoming a Cambridge teacher trainer, and I was one of the first 13 in the whole world to do their pilot course of early years good practice. I was the pioneer. So I was one of the pioneer students, met the pioneer person to appear for this EYGP course. So I went on to becoming a Cambridge program leader. So since Cambridge and 13 transits at the Shiri, they needed somebody very strong, somebody who knew Cambridge very strongly. So I got an offer from Campion as their a curriculum consultant. They wanted somebody to handle their curriculum and handhold teachers. So that job ghetla. That offer came to me in November. I only joined them in this June though, and I was a little skeptical because I did not want to travel all the way. Then again Winfred came in the form of a huge support as usual, and Tanmak Sangla Watson had job because we now have the Gamdevi house. So maybe you could look at living at Gamdevi on and off and come home as and when it suits you. Now November surprisingly brought in Sri Ram, my to-be son-in-law. So again, our plans toppled, and Amma and Anna decided not to move because Reva made a very cranky face and said, "When I am right round the corner, why are you thinking of shifting to Gamdevi?" So luck gets Winfred and man, no, I'm not shifting. आणि अम्मांनी म्हणा की बाई आमकां डॉक्टरांनी पुराय सांगत न्ही आमी कशें तें गामदेवी येवच्यान त्या फर्स्ट फ्लोरार कोण चडच्यान. So eventually, again it brought me to a point where I had to be the only one who was shifting to Gamdevi, and Amma, Anna and Winfred and Reva continued to be in Gamdevi. So June onwards, now I am in a different phase of life where I'm staying alone for 4 days, but it is giving me a lot of me time. I think I came or reached a stage where now 4 days a week I'm not playing a wife, mother, a daughter. I'm quite largely on my own now. So it is giving me a space to pursue and open my bucket list and do things that I could not do back then because of limitations and because of other commitments in life. So now I'm going on to doing a lot of new things that maybe I'll be able to tell you all a little later, or possibly you will see it on my social media, Facebook aries, or you know how usually khanje social media handle are ghalta, or I'll be able to share it with you as and when I meet you in the Samaj functions, or so I'll be able to share a lot of things that I'm doing, but currently they are in a very nascent stage. They are in the very early stages, so I won't be able to tell you much about. But yes, these are new beginnings. So moving on to new things, Malari. Sometimes something ending is a new beginning somewhere. Sometimes pressure can also bring in a lot of peace. Sometimes being alone can also bring in a lot of peace. So I'm getting a lot of me time. So I'm meditating now. I'm getting a lot of space to I'm getting a lot of quiet time because Gamdevi in itself is a very quiet place. Tantui, I'm all alone in the house. So you can imagine how quiet and how silent it is. Though Winfred works in silent resort, I think I am now getting into a lot of silent time, which I think I'm quite enjoying. And beginning again doesn't mean that the earlier chapter was not a success. In fact, I think it takes a lot of grit. I'm not praising myself here, but it takes a lot of grit, I think, to begin again and begin anew at any age. So I think for all of you who are beginning with a new place because your children have changed place, or who are beginning with something new because of circumstances, I think please see it as something positive or see it as a blessing, because begin it's a challenge, and the fun lies in finding new ways to overcome those challenges. So I think those lessons bring in a lot of change within us, which I think we must enjoy at every age, and with wisdom that comes, which you have gained through a lot of difficulties, and there are challenges and I think wisdom should bring in a lot of evolvement that where you eventually reach with all this. So looking back, I think some of the chapters that I resisted the most were some of the chapters that transformed me the most also. They taught me that I needed to release what I could not control. They taught me to choose well-being without guilt. Sometimes आम्ही मस्त गिल्टी फील करता ती, which I think we shouldn't. We must choose our well-being over guilt. There are some tough decisions that you make. There are some cords that you need to cut. There are some knots that you need to untie without guilt. And I think it is all right. You cannot be a people's pleaser, and you cannot please everybody under the sun, but that's okay. And there are lessons that I learned that taught me that uncertainty always doesn't mean we are lost. Uncertainty can bring some kind of a solution eventually. It simply means that the next chapter has not revealed itself still. So I still don't know how long I'm going to be in Gandevi or how long my Campion chapter will last, but I'm sure there will be something good coming out of that too. And starting again, like I said, it doesn't mean your earlier journey has failed or it has stopped somewhere. It simply means that the journey continues. So, amongst the life's lessons that I learned, my first lesson was to hold people close because time moves quickly. आम्ही केन्ना लागता की there will be another occasion and there will be time for another visit, there will be time to celebrate again. But you never know with life, and we all have learned that time is precious. So I think my first lesson is that people matter more than plans, positions, and possessions. So, कितू तुमक लोकांक अशी खुशी मेळू जातकी, I think तितू तुम्ही मेळता. That was my first lesson that life taught me and I learned. The second lesson, and probably the most important lesson that I learned, is to choose kindness, especially when it is very difficult. Because it is very easy to choose kindness when life is going well, people are behaving as you expected. But I think your true kindness is revealed when you're hurt, when you're disappointed, when you're tired, or most importantly, I think when you're misunderstood. Tavali kind vircha is very difficult, and I think that is a lesson I have learned. So that's the second lesson life taught me. The third lesson that I learned, especially after last year, is not to be afraid to begin again. There are times when you feel that starting over means losing things or losing people, but I think it is about carrying your wisdom into new chapters. So my third lesson that I learned is not to be afraid to begin again. The fourth lesson that I learned in life is that I think success means very little unless it helps improve someone else's life. I think titles or achievements or all that you gain in life, it brings in a lot of satisfaction. But meaning comes from knowing that someone grew or someone gained confidence because of the important part that you played in that journey of theirs. So I think success really comes when somebody else benefits, is motivated, and grows when you help them with all this. So that is my fourth lesson that I learned. And the fifth, and probably one of the most important lesson I'm learning, since I'm just about now 3 years away from being a senior citizen, is that you're never too old to learn anything. I'm still learning. I'm sure all of you also are still learning. I think the first thing I have learned is to slow down without feeling guilty. It is very important. And another thing I'm learning is to let go of what I can't control. I'm learning to trust life when I don't know what lies ahead. Pritama, now we don't know kal jaunche smukhari. So I have learned that. I'm also learning to find joy in very little things now. Because like I said, makamma nikpan sangela, that after 60, every day is a bonus. So I think somewhere I am actually, soaking in what she has said, and I'm trying to live that way. So that's it. Yes, and most importantly, I'm learning to take help now. I'm accepting help without feeling that that's a weakness. As we age a little in life, amkash dista ayo naba alla help get lari he lettali ki we are ayo han kalayana he kalayana but that's asana. So I think you must accept help when help is offered without feeling that it is a weakness. And now I come lastly to what I wanted to speak to all of you all about is what is becoming. Once upon a time, I believed that becoming was reaching your destination. Like I told you, my ammal train na kani. I thought, okay, when I reach my destination, I have become. But no, now I understand it very, very differently. Becoming is not at all about arriving somewhere. I think it is continuing to grow, continuing to soften, continuing to learn, and continuing to remain open to life. I think that is very, very, very important. And I'm standing before you today as someone who is still learning from every season, every person, who is grateful for every relationship that has come my way. And I am still very, very, very hopeful about what lies ahead. I think I am standing before you as someone who is still becoming. So, आज मगल talk to me ऐकून घेतल्याक thank you very much. I think I have lived life, I have enjoyed life to the fullest. So मस्त मस्त मनापासून धन्यवाद and thanks that तुम्ही म्हाका ऐकून घेतला. I hope you enjoyed, as I said, my journey. It was a reflection of how family, friends, relationships, my career, my education influenced my journey that I'm still learning and a journey that is still becoming. So thank you very much.
Ms. Roopa Lobo, head of early years, has been a guiding force in shaping the foundation years at CNS with warmth, vision, and unwavering dedication. Over the past decade, she has nurtured countless young learners, creating an environment where curiosity, confidence, and joyful learning flourish every single day.
Her commitment to excellence in early education was further recognized with the Outstanding Contribution to Curriculum Innovation and Teacher Development Award, a reflection of the passion, care, and leadership she brings to our school community.
We request Sujay sir, Meenal ma'am, and Mazin ma'am to please join us on stage and give flowers, gift.
Roopa, it is simply superb. We really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
the entire video and those sweet, sweet, cute photos that you displayed. Very superb.
Thank
Rupa, तुझं speech was really superb. Enjoy,
Thank
मस्त
you.
enjoy केलंय.
Thank you. Very proud of you, Rupa.
Yeah, really.
Thank you, Anu. You've been with me through it all. We are friends since we were 2.5, 3 years old. Yes, yes. Lovely journey.
Beautifully presented,
Thanks,
chapter
Neha.
wise, and I mean, like visualize करू जाता. Really.
Yeah, it
Thank
felt
you.
like we were reading a book
Experience.
about your journey. So I think
Yeah,
well put.
visualize करू जाता, literally.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Very nice,
Thank
very
you.
nice.
And we didn't know about some of your achievements. Thanks to this talk, we know now.
Thanks, Shubha. You're also
Very inspiring.
me as a toonie.
It's very inspiring to all of us.
Yes, it was a
Thank
very
you.
inspirational.
Thanks, Cheta.
Rita, it was a very inspirational, and it's going to really, it's more like a sermon which you can give anytime.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pachi.
All the
Magal
best.
शर्मा वायकूच्या कोणे बसचे ना.
No, but
देखो
it can help
sermon
people,
शर्मा वायकू.
It can help youngsters, it can help adults who are just entering into something new. So it was nice. All the best to you.
Thank you so much, Gita Pachi.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anybody else who would like to say something?
Padmini, you were saying something that time.
Yeah, Roopa, it was really a very enjoyable and very interesting journey of yours. I hope you get more and more success this way in the future.
Thank you. I hope I garner more people in my life as I go along.
We saw the collage in the end and wondering if there's any place for more.
We'll create a bigger one. Life's canvas is very large.
Yeah.
It's always got place for more.
Yeah.
Her entire journey is very inspirational, and more than everything, she is such a nice human being. She has nurtured so many lives, and she's keep doing all this. And I am really blessed to have her in my life. I very much inspired, I touched, and I really taken so many takeaways from her life, and that really helpful to me as well. I love you, Roopa ma'am.
I love you too, Beta. Thank you for
Aarti?
being the
Is that Aarti?
spine. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Aarti, please start your video.
Aarti, we also want to thank you for your help.
Start
Yeah,
your
we
video.
want to see you. We have
want to
always
see you.
heard. We have always heard good things about you. We want to see you, meet you.
Sure. I will definitely come once if time permits. In
Is that
one of the
somebody's
get
place?
together.
Roopa, just I
Pradeep
came
ma'am,
to
are you saying something?
Aarti, start your video. People are waiting to meet you.
Okay, give me a second.
प्रदीप मॅम शैला मी तुम्ही काल की म्हणतास ती शैला
Yeah.
Pradeep
There
ma'am.
she is. Hi, Aarti.
Yeah, she is the one behind the scene.
How are you all?
Thanks, Aarti, for compiling this so beautifully.
Always welcome.
And you
I
always
really
do that for us, and thanks a lot. I'm glad you were able to join,
Yes.
despite being a weekend.
कोणाल की खिडक्यात बसल्या चालली Sajjan.
Thank you, Roopa, for sharing your story and for inspiring all of us. And
Thank
it
you,
was really nice to see those images that you shared and the songs. You had selected such lovely songs to go behind the pictures. Each had such good meaning. So that was very nice. It's such a nice. It's always nice to see black and white pictures, and
Yes.
yeah, it's so nice. Yeah, thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
So much to learn from
Thank
your story.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I seem to be the only I seem to be the only male around here, right?
It's all right, Pradeep. You're a
Yeah.
privileged man.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have missed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I should be.
He's also somebody who's you've held me as a newborn, so I'm happy you were here today.
You're always there. So don't worry.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you so much.
You take care.
Yes. Maybe should we say bye-bye?
Yeah, let's say bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. For a lovely evening.
Bye-bye.
Second
Bye.
September आइए या
For
23
this
समाज
great
दिनांक.
time listening to you,
Bye.
Roopa.
Rupa, congratulations, huh? Your
Thank
daughter
you,
got engaged, no? I just came to know yesterday only, no? From Suman.
Thank you. Thank you.
अच्छा.
आता पळेल का जावे अंक पोट
अच्छा
पळेल
खुशी
ना
झाले ना ग खुशी झाला ऐकून ती तिघी झाल्या नाही तिघी झाल्या रे वा गमती दिसता
थँक्यू
अच्छा
Okay, bye then.
Bye.
Okay, bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, Roopa. Bye, Nidhi.
Bye.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to firstly thank Roopa Lobo for sharing her life's experience through the journey that chose me. She has so rightly spoken about how close family, relatives, and friends help build our values, thus, our character of who we are. Along our journey, life throws many challenges, but our support from loved ones helps us face them and overcome them. She's beautifully reminded us that behind every successful woman is the support and encouragement from family. I also thank Aarti, who is Roopa's right hand, who has helped to string along the video recording. Nivedita for sharing today's link. Ashwini for introducing our speaker. And of course, all of you for joining in large numbers for today's online program. I would like to share with you that the Samaj has received a new book for its library. Rohan Putli, The Genius Spectrum, written by his grandfather, Mr. Jairam Khambatkon. Anyone interested in reading it can please come to the Samaj and borrow the book from the library. Our next program is the Goklashtami Mantya on 2nd September at 3:30 p.m. Hope to see all of you in large numbers. Thank you.